Life cycle. Okay, so here we can see a summary of the 5 stages that we have to follow in the process life cycle. First, we'd have the modeling phase, then we have the simulation, execution, monitoring, and optimization. We're going to see each one of these in detail. So the first thing we have to do in order to develop new features in the application, develop new processes, what we're going to do is diagram those processes. After diagramming them, we're going to set up the parameters. So in order to set up the parameters, we're going to enter each one of these as objects. We're going to click on them. And when we click on them, we're going to be able to perform or indicate how they're going to be performed. Okay, so we're going to define, for example, how the process is going to start. Who's going to execute this option? What data has to be input? What data needs to be provided, or what data they're going to be able to see? Can it be integrated with other applications? How much time is going to be invested in it, and so on. Okay, so we're going to input these parameters. So each time the process is launched, the user who's going to interact with this process and this activity is going to know perfectly what he has to do at each moment. After that, we might have to configure maybe gateways with decisions based on the data of the process. And later on, we might have to interact with or design different automatic system activities. For example, we might want the system to automatically send an email. Well, we're going to have to define who's going to be notified, what type of information we want to send that person, and so on. Now, that would be the first phase. This phase would be modeling. Okay, it's called the modeling phase. After the modeling phase, when we've already got everything set up and running, what we're going to do is we're going to simulate our process. There's 2 different ways to carry out simulations in Autoportal. One of them is called statistical simulation, where you can enter parameters in the system. So how do you think these activities are going to be performed? Are they going to cost you more? Are they going to cost you less time or money? And then once you input these variables, you can simulate what would happen when hundreds or thousands of processes would be launched. And it's going to give you some results and some reports. Okay. Obviously, statistical simulation is a little bit risky because if we don't get our information right, the statistical simulation is going to give us very bad results. So we have to be careful with this one. But then there's the other option, the real simulation. This one's very interesting because it's going to allow us to analyze real data. So we can ensure that whatever we've simulated is actually what's going to be performed in the future when we actually publish these processes and allow our users to start taking advantage of these automated processes. So once we've simulated our processes, we can execute them. So this means that the company is going to start using them. For example, here we have this company that has to recycle material. They're going to be able to start using these processes. As it says here, without any programming required, this is something fantastic because it's just going to take us a click of a button in order to have our processes published and up and running for all the different users that need to interact with them. And finally, we're going to be able to monitor them. As we just mentioned, in order to monitor a process, we need data, and we already know that our processes are going to be generating data. And once they generate the data, we can use the dashboards, the monitoring tools of Autoportal in order to see what's happening with those processes. What happens when we have more information about our processes, when we're able to analyze everything that's happening within the processes of our company? We're going to be able to improve. So this would be the last part of the life cycle. We're going to be able to optimize our processes. Now, what does this mean? We're going to be able to change our processes whenever we want. Okay, so whenever we detect an aspect that can be improved, we're going to be able to change how our company works. And besides, we're going to be able to do it easily and quickly.